Arts in general and literature in particular have always inspired perfumers. Fragrances can tell a story, tell someone's story. We're in Gassé, a village in Normandy. This chateau is home to a museum devoted to Marie Duplessis, a famous French courtesan who grew up in the region. She inspired Alexandre Dumas the Younger's La Dame aux Camélias, one of the most famous novels of the 19th century, as well as Verdi's La Traviata, and much more recently, a perfume.
I usually create daytime fragrances, but for La Dame aux Camélias, I wanted to create an evening perfume, a floral fragrance using flowers that were popular at the time, like rose and violet, and orange blossom, of course.
And as part of the creative process, Anaïs Begin decided to find out more about Marie Duplessis.
I love researching, and coming here has proven to be a great source of inspiration for all sorts of fragrances inspired by works of literature.
An avid reader, this former photographer started making perfume around 2 years ago, teaching herself along the way.
I was visiting Victor Hugo's former home, Hauteville House, when it suddenly hit me. I wanted to make perfumes inspired by well-known writers, by their lives and surroundings.
Some of her fragrances are dedicated to authors like George Sand or Oscar Wilde, others to novels like Junkie by William Burroughs, and some to fictional characters.
Colette's Gigi, for example, is quite a naive young woman, somewhat undignified, which adds to her charm. Colette had a thing for white flowers, so I've created a Belle Époque-inspired bouquet, but added a twist so as to convey her youth. I used tuberose and blackcurrant to bring that vivaciousness. The notes are like words, and when we put them together, they tell a story.
And Anaïs Begin's next tale, a Baroque-inspired creation, will be told in 2015. Now for this perfume house. The relationship with literature began 200 years ago. Founder Pierre-François Pascal Guerlain was very involved with the writers of the time.
He kept up regular correspondence with Alexandre Dumas. I have one of the letters here. This love for poetry led to the creation of a perfume inspired by a Lamartine poem, a little-known poem called Fiordalisa.
And Vol de Nuit is a tribute to the Antoine de Saint-Exupéry novel.
This bottle is a perfect allegory for the novel. We have the plane's propeller and these ridges which evoke the wings on the airplanes of the time.
And sometimes the roles are reversed.
Family legend has it that Honoré de Balzac asked Pierre-François Pascal to create a perfume to help inspire him when he was writing César Birotteau.
Guerlain has just launched its first ever writing competition. The best 20 entries on the theme of olfactory memory will be published in June 2015.
This way, please.
Perfume and art can also go hand in hand. Perfume expert Constance de Roubaix has teamed up with the art expert Carole Couturier to organise unusual museum visits aimed at exploring the olfactory dimension to a work of art.
We'll start with Carole, who's going to tell you about this painting, Rythme et Joie de Vivre.
This is one of a number of artworks used for a new genre of art appreciation and part of the Rythme sans fond exhibition devoted to Robert Delaunay, which will run until January 12, 2015 at Paris's Pompidou Centre.
This painting and its rhythmic scattering of coloured discs really conveys the artist's love for life, his joy of living.
Sa joie de vivre, son bonheur de vivre.
Constance follows Carole with a different take on the painting, bringing another dimension, sharing a perfume with the group, a fragrance she feels complements the painting.
The painting's called Rythme et Joie de Vivre, and if there's one thing that characterized fashion designer Jean Patou, it was his joie de vivre. He created the perfume Joy in 1930, the same year the painting was completed.
The ladies have worked closely together to develop the fragrance and art experience with focuses on 12 different artworks.
The aim is to add an olfactory dimension to the pieces. So I often have my head buried in a book, looking for anecdotes and stories under the leading theme, from which I will then build the link between the two, using a date or particular story.
And sometimes the painting and the perfume are well and truly interlinked.
The US stock market crash of 1929 saw Jean Patou slowly lose all his clients because they had lost all their money. So Jean Patou asked his perfumer to create a perfume that conveyed joy and optimism. And he gave that perfume to his top 200 clients in America. We add this olfactory dimension to art appreciation. And in doing so, we really enhance the pleasure.
They spend around 1.5 hours with the contemporary works at the Pompidou Centre and then move on to the Musée d'Orsay and the Musée de Quai Branly to appreciate some older pieces.